Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, if you ever wondered if those expedition cruise ships out there, the ones that go to Antarctica and places like that, actually do any scientific work, well, I got proof that they do. We also have a cruise line that just announced, yeah, we're going to have a delay getting back to port, and you won't believe the reason why. We also have a quick update on Bar Harbor, as they have now passed that legislation to limit cruise ship passengers to 1,000 a day to disembark, and what that means for the rest of this year and going into next year. So one of the things I wanted to do when I got here into Barcelona is I wanted to go down each day, head down to the cruise port and see all the ships coming in the cruise port, and then I remembered it's winter. And guess how many cruise ships are coming into port? 0! I've been here 2 days and there are 0 cruise ships coming into port. In fact, the first cruise ship coming into port is going to be the Sun Princess tomorrow, which I'll be jumping on. So yeah, a little disappointing there I don't get to go see, but there's those beautiful yachts just along this walkway and I've been out looking at them every day. So yeah, not so bad after all. Let's talk about Bar Harbor and their limitations to cruise ship passengers to 1,000. Now, they're touting that the voting day was March 17, 2022, and everything after that will now be subject to the legislation. What they mean by that is, if the cruise ships have booked and organized their stay and their dock facilities before that date, then that will be honored. They will not limit those ships to the 1,000 restriction. But after that, they will start limiting, anything booked after that and accepted. Now, one of the reasons they're saying they're doing that is, well, if we were to cut off all the cruise ships that have already booked for this year, it could, I don't know, land them in court for breaking the contract. And they say that would put us into litigation and possibly put us under huge financial stress. Yeah, you think? Say you were going to get 100 ships and you said, okay, only nine of them can come in. Well, that's 91 times the cruise ships have a possibility breaking a contract suit against the town. And yeah, that would be financially stressful, shall we say, especially if they won. How much money do you think? I think it would bankrupt the town instantly. So yeah, they're not taking any chance. And they warned everybody when they were putting this legislation through that this could still end up in court as far as the cruise lines suing for breach of contract, because some of those contracts have been accepted after March 17, 2022, and now they're going and saying, well, okay, your 3,000 passenger cruise ship, you can only give us 1,000 people can only come off. Or if there's 2 ships in port that day, each of you can only bring in 500 that day, even though they have contracts signed and agreed upon, and this came in after the effect. So is the lawsuits over? Who knows if the cruise lines are going to bother with it, or they're just going to say, you know what, the heck with it, let's just go someplace else. We all know they've already been in contact with other towns and other ports and other places, and yeah, I think that might be the prudent way to go. But that doesn't mean there won't be any lawsuits in the future for breach of contract. We'll see what happens. They're saying this restriction going forward in 2024 now, because they're going to honor them, it really won't make much difference this year. Maybe a drop of about 15% to 20% on cruise ships. Maybe more if the cruise lines back out themselves. However, in 2025 and 2026 is when you will start to see the biggest hit. Remember, cruise lines normally arrange their docks and facilities years in advance. The only time they change that is when they decide to say, okay, well, we're not going to go to Australia with that ship anymore. We're going to send it over here. And even then, they normally have the space reserved. It's just under a different ship's name. just the way it works is that you have to book this space so far in advance. Look at Cozumel with, it can have 12 cruise ships in port easily on a day, and if you don't book your space, you aren't getting in. So they're looking at that. Now, if you ever wondered, hey, do expedition ships really do any scientific work? Well, the Viking Octanis was out there in Astrolabe Island, and they noticed a brand new colony of chin-strapped penguins that have never been documented before so far on the island. And so them with their oceanites, which is their scientific partner that they have that they work with, will be now putting out a scientific paper and study on these penguins. So if you're one of those people who really like history and really like the science stuff and you like to be really into nature, these type of ships, these expedition ships, besides getting you right into the action, like if you go to Antarctica, they drop you into Antarctica, not just sail by. Those are the type of cruises, and they actually do real scientific work on board, and that's kind of exciting. I know they were very excited when they announced this, saying, wow, this sounds amazing. And yeah, it's been over 40 years since a new chin-strap penguin colony has ever been documented. And you think in this day and age with satellites and just global connectivity, how can a colony of penguins go uncharted all this time and undiscovered? It's still kind of amazing at what we're discovering here on Earth. Now, I do have this crazy story coming up where a cruise line is purposely delaying their disembarkation time in Fort Lauderdale by 4 hours. And it's kind of a first I've ever heard of this reason. So, but before I get there, let me just invite you guys to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you want to keep up to date with everything going on in cruising, from the scientific stories that are breaking, to the ports that are saying, yeah, cruise ships, you can't come in anymore, to all the new ships coming online, like the Sun Princess that I joined tomorrow. We'll try and keep it as lighthearted as possible, and we'll keep you informed, maybe even save you a little money and a little frustration on your next cruise. After all, a day at sea is still better than most days at home. That's normally for sure. And again, it doesn't cost anything, but boy, when you hit that subscribe channel, it really does help out. And I really do appreciate it. Okay, let's talk about the Silverseas Nova. She's coming back from a 71-day cruise, a portion of a world cruise, if you will, and she's coming back to Fort Lauderdale on March 17th. She's scheduled to disembark at 7 a.m. But the cruise line has just sent out a notice saying, yeah, we're not going to get there at 7 a.m. And even though nothing's changing on the itinerary, the ship's not in any trouble, the ship's not breaking down the engine or anything like that, it's not bad weather, they're not going to start disembarking until 11 a.m. And the reason for that is that the Icon of the Seas and the Celebrity Ascent are in port. Now you say, so are they blocking them? What are they doing? No. They want to get a photo op because the Celebrity Ascent is the newest celebrity ship, the Icon of the Seas is the newest Royal Caribbean ship, and the Silverseas Nova is the newest Silver Sea cruise ship out, even though it's been out over a year. They're going to have a photo op with all three newest ships in the port together. Now, they are saying, we hope you'll come up on deck and join in the excitement and the celebration as this iconic event happens. Passengers not necessarily that thrilled with the idea, as many of them have already booked their airfare and made their plans to go someplace and have flights to make. Well, Silverseas says, well, if you booked it through the cruise line, we will automatically change your flights and make those changes for you. If you did it through yourselves and made your own arrangements, we will reimburse you a reasonable amount. Now, what's a reasonable amount? Full fare? If you can't, if you can't change your flights, or penalty fees, as long as you can prove it? We're not sure. Now, Silverseas is a luxury cruise line. Chances are they're going to do right by their passengers, especially those willing to pay for 71 days on a ship. because you want those people to come back. But yeah, I've never heard of delaying coming back to port because you want to get a photograph with 2 other cruise lines. I've never heard that before. And these, of course, are all owned by Royal Caribbean Group. So yeah, there you go. Another reason that you should always book your flights later on in the afternoon, because you never know, they just might want to stop for a photo op and take a selfie with some other cruise ships. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation. You see I'm blinking a lot? The sun right there in my window. Really bright, really bright. Cold as heck outside, but really bright sun.